which is the Constitution. So we should have a constitutional representative democracy. We say we're Democrat, but then we start going down the list of what do you believe in and what do you identify as Constitution. So we should have a constitutional representative democracy. Yo, what up, y'all? It's us. We back. It's Be the People. We live on a Tuesday night in the midst of a democratic struggle. Like to welcome y'all to the show. I'm your humble host, and we got some of the fam, some of the homies. That's
What's
tagging
up?
along with us tonight. I got my co-hosts in here. If you with us, drop a comment. If you driving home, please keep your hands and your eyes on the road. Be safe. It's crazy out here. You see anybody with a Trump flag driving by on their vehicle or at their house, just pray for them. It's a tough time for Trump supporters, and those who support him. But we don't feel sorry for them. That's just how the game is played. Fellas, how y'all doing this evening? Y'all all right?
I was fine until you said be nice to those supporters because they haven't been nice to me.
They haven't been nice to us, man.
I really got called the N-word in uniform the other day, and I was like,
"What?
Say word,
bro."
Tell that story.
In my neighborhood. So I'm coming out, I'm getting ready to go to work, and this guy's coming in, he's rolling in the neighborhood, and of course he has my boss's flag on the back of his car, and he's like, "It's your fault, you fucking nigger." I was like,
wow.
They are emboldened, man.
And if I wouldn't have, I had to catch myself. My neighbor, he was like, "Really? Did that just happen?" I said, "Yeah, that just happened, man."
Yeah, it happens, bro. And
Bro,
then, I don't know if I would say that to you either, bro, because like you black and you swole, man. I see you got your titties and stuff out there.
but more carefree though. But more emboldened. The fact that you were all right. Let's take away the whole fact.
Bro.
Right,
yeah.
That's the point.
Yes.
The fact that you were in uniform.
I'm in uniform, and I'm just like, and he blaming it on me. I mean, I'm like, bro, wait a minute.
Like I serve the country,
support,
man.
I'm exactly
right. I serve the People's Republic, man, and this is what you give me. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Bro, this is what you giving me. And if I've been any less of a person, I'd probably said something back. But the fact that I got train tracks on my chest, and I'm just not that type of person. I don't even. Right. I was like, I just look. I'll see him again. It ain't gonna be pretty, but I'm gonna see him again.
Right.
Right. Like, hey, so you said something to me the other day.
Remember what you said the other day? Right. I ain't in uniform now, partner, but
Yeah, man. But
what's up, boss man?
Yeah, you see him on here. I was just about to holler at him. Boss man is on here. Shouts out to both the boss man and the producer is on. Hey, y'all, what's going on? Kendrick, thank you for joining us. I was just about to say, man, this climate is a very crazy climate, man, especially with how the president has really empowered a lot of these cowards. Hey, Brittany, what's going on? He's really empowered a lot of these closet racists to come out, man, and it is getting bad. It's getting really bad, man. It's getting to a point where it's getting real petty. I'll put it like that. It's becoming very petty.
Petty is too light of a word to be honest.
It's honestly disgusting, man.
Thank you. That's the perfect word to say, because that's the word I was going to go with. It is honestly disgusting, and the fact that he has emboldened them, and then what they do now, they hedgehog their way back in now when Biden won, right? Yeah. And so now they're going to be undercover and doing a little passive aggressive nonsense, right? Yeah. And that's what it is, right? So they knew. And then I'm hearing, but I read somewhere that says we need to come together as a people. I'm like, no, we don't. No. 72 million people. You stay on your side of the train track. I stay on my side.
For peace sake.
For the peace sake. Don't say anything to me. I'll say anything to you.
So I got a quick question for you though. Like being in the military, how I know this is kind of like sidebar off the rails what we were going to talk about, but this just got me thinking. Being in the military, like how has it affected you? I mean, we go back to Kaepernick. Well, we're disrespecting the soldiers and taking the knee. We're disrespectful to those who serve, and all this other blah 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 blah. but you just shared a story with us about being in uniform and being black. Like, I'm still disrespected. You know what I'm saying? So like, since the Trump presidency, like how has it been for a black man in uniform?
Good question.
I mean, it's been like one of those things where you feel sometimes, especially as an officer and being black and an officer, it's like you just waiting for that day where it's like, oh shit, you know,
the hammer's gonna drop.
Yeah. But ever since, like, kind of like a lot of things have came out where other people have, said made racist comments, and they've gotten in trouble. We go through this thing called the inspector general, and they were caught and, of course, reprimanded. But
good
during this, it's come out more. But at the same time, the military is like really taking a stand against that. Equal opportunity. That's the program that we have when it comes to racism, job, soldiers being mistreated due to race, color, creed, sexual orientation, all that stuff. So, the military has like a zero tolerance for that. And as soon as like something happens, they like, and now, especially with everything going on where I'm stationed at and throughout the other, major installations, yeah, they ain't got time for it, man. Honestly, in certain places, I feel like it's brought us together more, military wise. However, you still have those who,
those small pockets of absolutely.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I just had, it just makes me a little bit more aware and more careful of my surroundings and understanding that Jim Crow never left. He just went to sleep for a while.
Oh, Jimmy's still here, man. It's just
it's just a different. It's just a different, a different meal on the plate. It's like it was eating mashed potatoes at this point. Now we eating
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. So it's like with a side order nasty candy yams, and somebody didn't put enough sugar in. So
potato salad with raisins.
Yeah, no, potato salad straight from Walmart. That's what it is.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, it's been one of those things. A lot of us have been on edge. Like, are we gonna deploy? Are we gonna have to go? Is another war gonna start? Like, But for all of us know that, spiritually, like we living in the end days anyway. There's gonna be rumors of wars and all this other stuff going on. So honestly, I just kind of have sat back and just taken it in stride and just perfected my craft. And I've tried to be that leader that's that definitely deters away from any racism, anything, because that's just not what we need to be doing. Last time I checked, I bleed the same way. I put my pants on the same way, and I'm on. I come in this earth the same way, and I'm gonna die. We all gonna die. We all gonna go to the dust from which we came. So that racism crap, man, I can't stand it. Really, truthfully.
Yeah.
Although
I will say this. I appreciate your service, man, and it's sad. I mean, especially understanding from a historical perspective what especially black soldiers have had to deal with. From fighting in World War I and coming home and having to deal with what was it called, the Red Summer. Of you went to serve your country, and then as soon as you got home, white people were on a killing spree. That was around the same time Tulsa happened, where black people were coming home and they were being murdered. Like it's been crazy here, man.
I would say, Dwayne, you are the definition. I'm sorry, you are the definition, brother, of bravery. Right?
Absolutely.
There's no way I can call myself brave if I'm about to jump out of a plane, but I can only call myself brave for that minute until I land on the ground, right? You are brave 24/7 when you go and you're deployed and you're fighting, and then to hear and we're in that uniform, right? Because there's not only a target on your back, there's a target on your back twice. Right, based off of the historical perspective, because you're black and you're black in a uniform.
Absolutely.
Right? So somehow people may feel like you are not enabled enough to even fight for this country, for the rights of this country. But it was a choice that you made to satisfy, for that man to say what he had to say. You fought for his right to say what he had to say to you. Right. And for him to not even respect that is just disgusting.
Well, it's even been other times where, black people have been disrespectful. You know, like I've seen one time, I seen a young man. And I told him, I was like, "Hey man," I said, "Hey, pull your pants." I was in uniform. I was like, "Hey, young man, you know, pull your pants up." He looked at me like, "Man, fuck you." Like I was like,
"Whoa, right."
I'm just like, and I'm just like,
then somebody
wow.
come grab your booty, you be mad because like if you knew what that meant, you know what I'm saying? Like now you offended.
I
But
like
maybe
you
that's what
and I want you.
Won't you? We can do this the
Easy
easy way.
way
or the
or the
hard way.
hard way. But I mean,
Call it Chris
it's
Handsome.
because you're handsome.
I know who you
I
are.
mean, but it predates all the way back to the Buffalo Soldiers that fought in the Civil War.
Absolutely.
So I mean, this thing is never gonna go anywhere. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love serving my country. I love.
And I will say this too. And this is an excellent segue because again, like your responsibility as a soldier is that you fight to make sure that the Constitution is withheld. Like that is what
Right.
y'all take an oath to. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, you know, just to kind of segue, kind of keep it moving a little bit. Just talking about, you know, be the people. We're still educational. Like we still talk about, you know, certain things. And with this election and everything that's happening, the first thing I want to talk to us and kind of we can converse about is just the 20th Amendment. So we know that right now, Donald Trump he's very unorthodox. He's disgusting, he's petty. And we were trying, you know, we always want to know, like, can he actually do these things that he's doing? Like, that's always my first question. Anytime I, you know, I hear him say something, you know, whether he's talking about other countries or, you know, whether it's about, you know, people here, my first question is always, as a president, is he allowed to do this? And a lot of his opinions, things that he says, his personal opinions, there are certain things that he can do. But Donald Trump is a guy who is in a place that is really toting the line, violating the Constitution. He is really toting the line. And so one of the things I want us to kind of talk about is the 20th Amendment. I know when we left off last season in Be the People, we talked about, I think we talked about the last amendment, the last article that we talked about, I believe it was number 8. But we'll kind of skip around, especially with this climate, with what we have going on. And so the 20th Amendment, and I'll just kind of read some notes that I have here. The 20th Amendment is basically broken into 6 sections. And the one that I really want to kind of for us to converse about is section 1, where it talks about basically the lame duck period. And section 1 says the term of the president and vice president shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of senators and representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January on the years in which such terms would have ended in this article have not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. So my first question is, do you feel like Donald Trump's last day is going to be January the 20th? With all the recounts, and you know he's basically put an all out blitz. He has a Hail Mary out right now. So as of between, I believe it's December 1st is the last date when any changes or ballots can be counted or anything like that can, from December 1st to January 20th. Do you feel like Donald Trump's last day in the White House is going to be January the 2020?
You asking me?
I'll ask anybody. I don't care.
I'm gonna say no. I'm not. I'm gonna say yes, definitely, because to your point, right? My man's job title expires at noon, 12:01. Joe Biden or noon 01. Joe Biden basically comes in, right?
Yes.
So he doesn't have a choice. I've always said in these 4 years, I have so much because I've worked on an Air Force base for 18 months. I have too much pride and too much too much pride and just too much know-how for our government. Right. I trust our government. Right. I trust our government officials that they won't disrespect the Constitution like that.
Yeah,
right? This ain't Chandraland,
right?
This ain't Scandal.
Scandal. Yeah, you're right.
Right. But at the same time, he's pushed the wall against every single amendment, Constitution. The man has done what a lot of Americans have thought about doing.
Absolutely.
But he's done it. So, right.
Go to prison for a long time.
Correct. But it's gonna be his last day. There's not gonna be. I'm not worried about it. But what's going What I'm worried about is what we'll talk about later is more the transitional phase.
Yes.
That's more of what I'm worried about than him staying in office, because they could take him out any day of the week. Right. But that transition, based off of the way he's acting, is more dangerous than anything else.
Yes. So, and here's how I see it. I'm with you. I agree. I believe January 20th is going to be his last day. My biggest fear, though, constitutionally, until we get to his lame duck period, and that's what this period is called. He now becomes a lame duck. So essentially, as a lame duck, he doesn't really have authority at this point. Like there's nothing made. Like there are no major changes that he can make at this point during this period as a lame duck. However, the behavior that we have seen from Donald Jamal Trump in these last 4 years, especially here at this last moment.
Oh God.
Man, anything is possible. And one thing that I will say is that I can appreciate a part of what the founding fathers have done initially when they set up the Constitution. I know, first of all, when they wrote it initially, it had nothing to do with us. We've covered that before. But the fact that it was set up, it was set up so much to a degree that, 200 plus years from now, Donald Trump would come along and it would still confine him to these set rules, because you're always going to have people that are going to want to bend the rules, that are going to want to push the boundaries of what's happening. But I will say I do appreciate the foresight in that regards that they had to being able to be like, okay, once you get to your last term, bro, you really have no authority, because we know you get crazy. Somebody is going to get crazy. Somebody is going to abuse power. Somebody is going to try to do something to affect the United States as a whole. And so that's one thing I will say that I can appreciate about it. What y'all think?
But we're assuming. I'm sorry, Dwayne. Go ahead.
I mean, I definitely with the behaviors, and then I look at it as a leader with the behaviors that are being displayed right now. I think it's very unprofessional. I think it's uncouth of a leader.
It's the SAT word, by the way, uncouth.
Yes. I think it allows the rest of the world to see the United States in a very
yeah, bro, we're the laughing stock, man. Like,
yeah, we are
a symbol of power to like. This is a show, man. A comedy.
They say USA. Oh, okay, all right. But no, I don't. He, of course, by the rules and laws in accordance with the Constitution and the 20th Amendment, yes, he does have to surrender power. And yes, Lamar, it is a questionable thing about that Iran situation right now. Really can't go into that due to OPSEC, but it's a very dangerous time. But for everybody, I mean, yes, he's gonna have to surrender the powers that be. But again, withholding pertinent information as far as security briefings, coronavirus updates, those task force that those transitions have to be made, financial obligations throughout the United States of America, other treaties, negotiations that had to be signed, switched over, names. Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you just can't do that. I mean, like I said yesterday, even on this level in the military, we have transitional teams. When another command is coming in, commander, first sergeant, like it's a transition of power. And even in the situation that I'm going through, it's a transition of power. I can't show my face right now. I can show my face, but being privy to other information, I can't have that information because I'm not in the seat right now. But I can't get little small briefings here and there. And it goes to the same way with the presidential switchover. I mean, at this point,
he's treating this like
segue. By the way, guys, that's an excellent segue. Like I don't sure that's how that works, but that's actually we'll talk about that next. Just about the transfer of power. What were you about to say?
Oh yeah, so he's treating this basically like a I'm sorry, not a corporation, right?
Yes, and
So
that's what he knows. Absolutely,
that's all he knows, right?
absolutely.
So even taking a step back, right, the Constitution itself and the amendments themselves, there's a lot of gray areas. So what he has is he has the knowledge base to actually have a bunch of lawyers like Rudy Giuliani and say, hey, there's some
Is
gray
Rudy a
areas.
lawyer?
Go find, yeah, he is.
That was a joke.
Go find it. Go find it. Go get it. Make sure that everything that we're doing is not even correct. Just go make just
It's
delay when
interpreted how we want it to.
correct. Because
Absolutely.
that's how those constitutional lawyers can do it. They can word it in a way to make it where it's like, okay, well, this is what it was intended to be. Everybody has an open interpretation. And also remember as well that the U.S. itself, the United States of America, compared to the rest of the powerhouses, is considered a teenager.
Yes.
Right. So
Yeah,
we
we've
are
not been here that
still
long. Absolutely.
we are still young. Not making an excuse, but just telling the reality of the situation. I mean, because we are, and that brings up to the laughing stock. So we're doing some goofy teenager stuff, right? And the fact that they voted that man in the office, but as a United States personnel, we voted that man in the office.
Right.
But nonetheless, and to the point of transition of power, he has a mindset of if he is a board of director or he is, as Dwayne had mentioned, when you're going from one administration to another administration, you're basically, he's like, hey, I can go to the last second and then I can sit down with them for 1 hour and say, there's a coronavirus cabinet over there. There's this file over here. Best of luck to you. New York, here I come. Right.
And so,
He doesn't, and that's exactly, and that's what I'm trying to figure out with this guy.
And so here we go. So again, we about conversation and like understanding what's happening. So the Presidential Act of 1963, I'll read that. So there's something that was placed in place for things as transition. So the Presidential Transitional Act, this is just from the White House, promotes an orderly, listen to the wording because the wording is always important. It promotes the orderly transfer of executive powers in connection with the expiration of the term of office of a president and the inauguration of a new president. So think about that. It says an orderly transfer. That you have a team of lawyers that could be left up into interpretation. What is an orderly?
Correct.
What is it? A week? Is it 6 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? Is it what does an orderly transfer look like?
So
exactly, it could be left up to the interpretation of the presiding president. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Exactly. So like the way it's scripted from what I read, and this is my interpretation. So in accordance with the Presidential Transition Act of 1963, like at this point when a president-elect is elected president, the very next day, well, when he's selected to be the president of the United States, he or she, the very next day, the transition is supposed to start. They are supposed to, start sitting down, doing the briefings, like basically like a left seat, right seat for the next 70 plus days. At that point, the president-elect, whoever it may be, along with the vice president-elect, they start appointing people in their cabinet. They start saying, you're this, and those people start left seat, right seat with the outgoing administration's people. So at this point, it is a total violation. It is not in accordance with this particular act. So because they are supposed to, everybody in this administration, from the new administration to the old, is supposed to start sitting down and left seat, right seat, because there are, like you said, there are meetings, there are agendas, there are things that have to be met. There's deadlines and everything that has to be met before January 20th. So once January 20th hits, deuces, I'm out, homie. It's all you now.
But to the point of so with Trump, right? A lot of people feel like he hasn't done anything. When I'm saying before done anything, hasn't held to the office to the highest esteem, hasn't been presidential, hasn't just signed a bunch of executive orders, which by the way, on the 21st, Biden could just wipe away, right? With a swipe of a pen. Right. But nonetheless, right? Considering the fact that we had Biden who served as a vice president and Obama who's tight with Biden, do you feel like they're actually going like they're not too concerned because they were the administration beforehand? So what I'm asking is, do you feel like Biden can actually transition Kamala and Obama can actually transition Biden on the side? Yeah.
Okay. So my answer to that question is this. Although, I mean, familiarity with the White House is one thing, but the times are transitioning right now. Like we have as I think it was Lamar said earlier, like you trying to start a war and pull troops out at the same time. And I'm not in the military, but I know that is a pretty in-depth operation, to figure out you're making decisions on, do we go to war, do we fight, who are we bringing home, like with these decisions, and like you're transitioning power in the middle of that, so your cabinet's gonna change, your military minds may change. I'm not sure. Joe Biden may have a better outlook on the situation, but if he doesn't have the details and knows, okay, this is what we've done so far, this is what we plan to do, this is what currently is going on, it can be really bad for the new guy coming in, and I think it's his intention to do that, to sabotage. I mean, I don't really think he cares. I don't think Donald Trump cares about how he leaves the nation. We saw how he's treated coronavirus. That let me know that he really doesn't care about the state of we as people more than he does the economy and things like that. So when it comes to the transition of power, I don't think he is going to be fair. I don't think he's going to provide. I mean, I heard like the military is like, yo, like he needs to be in on these, and Donald Trump is like,
yeah, I think former President Obama and Joe and President-elect Joe Biden have had numerous conversations about this particular situation.
right.
And I'm pretty sure that Vice President-elect Harris has sat down with Mr. Biden and had detailed conversations, and I'm pretty sure like they have sat there and like come up with a plan,
Just in case this happens, I'm sure
just in
they
case.
educated smart people, man.
Correct.
Yeah,
I have no worries whatsoever.
I think ultimately they're doing the best they can to transition. Like I think I was
I
watching
agree.
CNN yesterday, and they were talking about the very same thing, and the first thing that President-elect Biden said was like, "Hey, more people are gonna die if we don't work together. If we don't have continuity and work together." So I think that they're literally trying the best they can to do with what they can.
With what the information and knowledge they
Yeah.
have,
Exactly.
absolutely.
So, and I think it's just gonna, as we get closer to that time, maybe things will change, and I hope that my current boss like really understands that, hey, this affects everybody, and because they already said it's going to be 155,000 more people dead by inauguration day.
Yo, that's crazy.
15,000 died on freaking election day. So I mean, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
But Biden, but Biden has taken it upon himself, or I'm sorry, President-elect Biden, and that's another thing I just want to talk about real quickly. The side note. So President-elect.
There's a side note. Okay, there we
go. Here we go.
Do y'all think that we it's an open-ended question. Do y'all think that we really are the laughingstock of these nations because we seem to be the only country in the world that talks about their president by first name and doesn't refer to them by their title? So, for example, Barack Obama, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, instead of president this, president that, and president third. And that's what always has bothered me about that. Like, you go to a different country, for example, I went to Singapore, and if you talk, I mean, we're not in the same type of democracy, but it's a whole different. But they still refer, even if they don't like the guy, they still refer to him by the title because he has a title, right? You respect the guy, you respect the title and the presidency and all that other stuff. But it's like we don't seem to do that here. But my point being, but my major point being, what bothers me about people that still have this animosity towards President-elect Biden and President VP-elect Kamala Harris is the fact that they're doing what President Trump should have done, and that is they've established a not only a transitional team, a coronavirus task force. Right. The man did what President Trump should have done in March. Right. And they still hold an animosity toward this man. Like, y'all people, we want to get outside. I'm tired of wearing a mask, just like you are. Right. I'm not a surgeon. Right. I'm not. I like we made these masks real fashionable. pretty
Louis
dope.
V and Gucci man.
Hey,
Right,
for real,
exactly.
I got a couple of Louis Vuitton and some champions. I'm fashionable with mine. I got my
correct.
Pittsburgh Steelers one and everything.
And
But
I'm tired of wearing them, but nonetheless,
yeah,
right? Let's if he's doing exactly what the president before him was doing, like should have started a transitional team.
Right.
I'm sorry, a coronavirus task force to be like, hey, when can we get it done? I know personally, no, I don't know personally, but my estimation is by this, let's say second quarter of 2022, that's when we'll just start transitioning to normalcy.
Right.
they already
So
they've already predicted with this coronavirus that it'll take about another year and a half for us to like even get the slightest bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
Um, I they so one thing that President-elect Biden and to your point, Lloyd, like no, you go to a different country. Let you speak negative of the
Man,
administration if you want
they
to.
coming to get
right,
you.
They coming to find you,
right,
Right.
you
but
are.
that's off
Over
with
his
your
head.
head.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you ain't gonna
Um,
wear no more masks. You ain't gotta worry about a mask.
but I think that the biggest thing, like you said, the president-elect, he's implementing the things that should have been done way back in January when
Right.
coronavirus was kicking off in China and Korea and everywhere. Um, and yes, like the stats are there, the statistics are there. The problem is we have sheeple in the world, not
That's a good
people.
one. Yeah.
We have sheeple,
Yes.
and
Easily influenced. Absolutely.
easily influenced,
I got you,
and
man. I'm with you.
they feel like, oh well, I ain't got it, but how do you know?
Oh,
That's like running around here saying that I ain't got AIDS,
I ain't got the
but how do
clout.
you know?
Now you know. Hey,
Exactly. So,
go get tested, bro.
um, yeah, I think what they're doing, and I really think they're gonna put a mask mandate out, and I think that they're gonna make it so that you have to wear a mask,
Right.
and
Right.
that's the only thing. Like they're talking about, like, well, it's shutting down the nation, shutting down the economy. Is it bad? Yeah, it can be bad economically, but you can't spend money with dead people.
man, you know what? You just made a great point that I always considered it. So I'm just gonna make this a hot take. I've always considered this coronavirus similar to a STD, and the
Okay.
fact of
That's
how
definitely okay. That's the hot take. Okay, let's go. Or the daily take. Absolutely.
right. So think about it,
Coronavirus and
right?
STD. Absolutely.
When
But
you have
did you
a
die?
right. Oh, I've always thought about it like that. When I heard about it, I was like, "Oh, this is like a STD, right? Because it could kill you, do all this other stuff, right?" And all you have to do is wear the protection, do the protective mandates, right? That you have to do it to not receive it,
Right.
right? But
Right.
then you start realizing that you go into restaurants and this and that and third. And they're like, "Hey, we're cleaning these places and we're doing this." And you're like, "What were you doing before, bro?
Right. Like
Like,
I
would y'all some nasty people? Oh yeah, wear a mask. Nah, I ain't gonna wear no mask. Y'all some nasty folk. Wear some gloves, do etc. So forth. So you start realizing that the folks some nasty
but that,
people out there,
yeah, bro.
right? And
Yeah.
nonetheless, right, like you come in, you go outside, like during the month of March and April. I don't know if y'all felt this, but every time I went outside and came back in, right, I felt like the earth was dirty. And I have to
Right,
just take
right.
off all my
Right,
clothes
man.
and
I
go
got to
throw that in the
outfit these
washer.
gloves and this mask and
Right.
yeah, man.
And
Yeah,
then I
man.
was like, so that's why I think so that's the best way I think for people to realize it. But then again, if they realize it like that,
Right.
we wouldn't have such a high transition of or transmission of STDs and AIDS and HIV. But nonetheless, I just think we're just some nasty humans. So yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
I would say definitely our standard and level of cleanliness as a whole, especially like you talk about like we're doing this now. Like you weren't doing that before. Like
Yeah, like, come on, man. You didn't wait.
wait
Wait
a
a
minute.
minute. What does your house look like for real?
Like
I'm
wait a
not
minute.
coming over your house. Nah,
Right.
bro.
Don't invite
Nah.
me over, but yeah, man. So one thing before we get out of here, I want to read this comment. It says Biden transition folks have made it a point that to state that a national shutdown will not be effective. They feel focusing on specific hotspots will work better along with the mask mandate. I
Yeah.
again,
Isn't
I'm
this
not
whole
I'm not the president. I understand, different governments, different leaders are going to implement different plans, different ways of combating this thing. Um, I can't say that it's not going to work. I just appreciate the fact that Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Joe Biden is really he's taking initiative, man. I mean, he's not even in office. You know, he's already taken it upon himself to reassure people, and not just Democratic people, but you know, Republican people, just the people of the United States. He's reassuring them that, hey, we are working on this. This is where we are, as opposed to Donald Trump, who's really spent more time, you know, dealing with voter fraud and, you know, all this other stuff. It's like, man, the election's over. There are people dying still, you know, before the election, after the election, people's lives are still being taken from this virus. And really, you have really done nothing up until this point to ensure that people have peace of mind. Like, these companies are rolling out, you know, uh vaccines and stuff now. I mean, which is fine, which is cool, but
Right.
I have no peace of mind. You know, if Donald Trump were to get another 4 years in office, how are you going to fix this, Donald? And we,
not the first name. How are you gonna fix this, Donald?
How you gonna fix this?
Donald Jamal, how are you gonna fix this, man? You know, that's just what I call him, Donald Jamal Trump. But y'all got any final thoughts before we get out of here, y'all?
Ultimately my final thoughts are, like I said yesterday, man, wear a mask.
Yes.
Please wear a mask. I like to live another like 10 years, Lord willing.
At least.
See another 10 years. But ultimately, like, I think it's just time for the world to take a reset. I think it's time for the whole nation to sit back and reinvent themselves as a person, as people. Take a deep dive on yourself, constructive criticism upon oneself, and look at what is trying to be done throughout the world. When I saw CNN and I saw a indigenous people location, a Navajo Indian reservation, those people are dying out there.
Yeah.
Like we got to, if we don't care about people, we're going to do exactly and continue to be exactly what the rest of the world says, and it's a
Yeah, they
laughing
call that
stock.
socialism, though.
Right.
Yeah, they call that social, the care for fellow man. Why would we do something that would actually support and help the
Because
peaceful?
Jesus said so.
Well, right, but in the Christian nation as the United, okay, that's a whole nother episode. Somebody said his name is not Jamal, it's John. Duh. We know that.
But he acts like a Jamal. So,
so your final thoughts. Very good, right. Nathan. Very good, Nathan. Nathaniel, thank you. We
Smart
appreciate the comedic relief.
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. All right. So last week I was on vacation in the great states of Arizona and Nevada, right? President-elect Joe Biden flipped from red to blue. Great. I felt very comfortable going to those states actually on vacation. I mean, I've been to Arizona, I've been to Nevada before when they were red, but this time I felt a little more comfortable when they were blue.
Yeah,
it just felt a little bit more like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. But I would like to give a special shout out to the Camp Verde Police Department. So when I was in Arizona, I went kayaking and fell out the kayak myself, right?
And you lived. Okay.
And I lived. But not only that, right? So I went out, so I got, the water was only waist deep, got out the water and started walking on the main road, right? So here's the importance. First off, when you fall out of a kayak, you are supposed to stay not in the water, but get to the nearest safety bank and stay there, because they do a rescue and they do last search, right?
Just to make sure
that you didn't go downstream or anything up to that nature. But I started walking up the main road. Here comes the sheriff, the police department, all that other stuff, because the people that I was with, or the person I was with, made the perfect call. Nonetheless, the Camp Verde Police, Fire Department, and sheriff not only were courteous, kind, and just real professional in how, in teaching me the way. They were like, "Hey, good, it's great to be an Avenger, but not right now. Not when you got people that are looking for you." Yeah. So, nonetheless, they did a great job. So that's why I don't. So when I hear Dwayne say somebody berated him while in uniform, it's a little bit disgusting and hurtful, because what if one of those individuals got berated in uniform at any point in time in their careers or any time in their life, right? And still put their feelings to the side to take care of, they put aside race and everything else. So it's two European American individuals. Mm-hmm. I didn't even to sound cliche. I didn't see race when they saved me. I just saw the warmth of the car.
Right. I saw help. Absolutely.
I saw help. That's that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That when you are hurt, when you need help, you not see color. Like
color does not matter.
Right, color does not matter. Yeah, so that was my did you die though? But I did.
But did you die though? No, he did not die.
I did not die.
Well, cool, man. Well, we'll go ahead and get out here on that note. Thank y'all for joining me. If you have not subscribed, please like and subscribe to TFG Media. Be the people. Go check out TFG Media with Political. Is where we hang out. We're on the political side, but it's a lot of good stuff, man, that's happening over there. It's really cool. But please wear your mask, and thank you, Nathaniel. But he will always be Donald Jamal Trump Jr. to me. All right, love y'all. Good night, peace. We'll holler at y'all.
All right, man.